much.
All right, let's get a closer look at those markets. NewsNation's Alicia Nieves is on Wall Street with the very latest. So as expected, opening up in the green, well above 3% right now. Alicia, what's the latest from there and expectations throughout the day?
Yeah, what a difference a day or two makes, right? Yesterday, the opening bell, we saw a slide down with the Dow to about 1,300 to 1,600 points, and now we see the complete reversal of that. We opened the Dow up about 1,300 points. The S&P and NASDAQ up around 3%, the most significant kind of upside swing that we have seen in the last week or so, given when those tariffs were put in place. A lot of this initially this morning on just the markets taking a deep breath, recalibrating, thinking maybe it oversold on some of the tariffs concerns, and then just in the last few minutes here, Trump posting on Truth Social that he had some conversations with South Korea on tariffs. Things are looking good there. Also saying on Truth Social that China, quote, also wants to make a deal badly. There's been a lot of aggressive talk about China and the retaliatory tariffs over the last couple of days, and that's kind of pulled back the market. So hearing some more favorable talk about a negotiation, that's something the market is leaning into right now. But this is a world of difference from what we saw yesterday, right? Even with the wild swings in the market, we saw the Dow close by about 350 points to the downside. The S&P 500, that was lower by about 0.2%. The NASDAQ was the only one to the upside, but it was that wild intraday swing that technically still could happen here. I don't want to dampen the mood, but that's a reality, right? You had the Dow swing 2,500 plus points yesterday. That was a record for the all-time intraday kind of movement for the Dow. We saw markets even just add about $3.6 trillion very briefly yesterday, around 10 o'clock yesterday morning, on this false report that came out that Trump was potentially pausing tariffs for 90 days. Again, that was false. It only lasted in the market for about 10 minutes, but you had that major, like 8.5% rally for the S&P 500, and then about almost $4 trillion added in value, and then quickly pulled back. So we're seeing today, this morning, kind of losses from yesterday get wiped out. We're starting to kind of eat into the losses that we saw on Friday. But the reality is still, the markets have priced in. Even with the rally we're seeing right now, we're probably still $5 trillion to the downside from what we saw in losses in the last 3 days. And that's because the markets are still concerned about tariffs, right? There's still this lingering concern about a potential recession. You have had some of the wisest minds here on Wall Street come out. Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan, Bill Ackman, the billionaire hedge fund manager, say the longer these tariffs are in place, the increased worry there is for a recession. And today still, the tariffs are in place, although the market's reacting to some positive news on potential negotiations being had right now. Marni?
All right, keeping our eye closely on the markets throughout the day. I've got market whiplash as we start the week. Alicia, thank you from the Stock Exchange. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.